One of the most fascinating things about the human brain is that it's not fixed. For a very long time, people believed that after childhood the brain was mostly set. Our personality, our habits, and our emotional patterns, they're just who we were. But neuroscience actually shows us something much more hopeful. The brain is constantly changing. This ability of the brain to reorganize itself, create new connections, and adapt based on our experiences, it's called neuroplasticity. Every thought you repeat, every emotion you spend time in, and every behavior you practice leaves a biological trace. The brain literally strengthens the pathways that we use the most. So think of it like walking through a forest. The very first time you walk through a new area, there's barely a path. But every time you walk the same way, the path becomes clearer, wider, and easier to follow. And your thoughts, they work the same way. A thought that you repeat over and over becomes a familiar pathway in your brain, and eventually your brain starts choosing that pathway automatically. And this is why negative thinking patterns can feel so difficult to escape. It's because they have become so familiar. You're so used to them. When someone experiences depression, anxiety, or emotional pain, the brain can start creating patterns around those feelings. Maybe the thought is, I will never change, or nothing will get better. At first, these thoughts might feel like reactions to your circumstances. But when you surrender to them completely and when you accept them as part of your identity, you actually allow those pathways to grow stronger. The brain starts saying, this is the reality we know, this is the pattern we follow. And the more you practice a thought, the more automatic it becomes. But the beautiful thing about neuroplasticity is that the opposite is also true. The brain can change in a new direction. A pathway that has been strengthened for years can slowly become weaker when we stop feeding it, and a new pathway can be built instead. But the first step is awareness. You can't change a pattern that you don't see. And this is something I find especially interesting when we talk about motherhood. Because becoming a mother is not only an emotional experience, it's a neurological transformation. A woman's brain literally changes during pregnancy and motherhood. And the brain adapts to make her more sensitive to her baby's needs, and areas involved in empathy, protection, emotional regulation, and attachment, they all become altered in her brain. Motherhood creates a brain that is constantly scanning, anticipating, and caring. And it's one of the most powerful examples of neuroplasticity in human life. A woman's identity changes, her priorities change, her emotional world also changes. And this transformation is not something that disappears after the baby grows up. So the experience of motherhood leaves a lasting imprint on the brain. And there's also another side of this that I think we don't talk about enough. While we spend so much time learning how to care for our children, we often forget to care for ourselves. Women usually push themselves to their limits they would never ask someone else to push to. And this is where I believe neuroplasticity becomes deeply empowering, because you can learn to become your own safe place too. You can become the person who comforts you. You can become the mother you need for yourself. When you notice a destructive thought pattern starting to form, you can meet yourself with compassion. You can say, I see that I'm struggling right now. I understand why I feel this way, and I can choose another way. That moment of awareness is where change really begins. Changing your brain does not mean pretending everything is positive. It does not mean ignoring pain. It means becoming conscious of the stories you are repeating inside your own head. Because sometimes we inherit these narratives. It could be from society or maybe some difficult experiences. And then, without realizing it, we continue repeating those stories. Your brain is listening to the conversations you have with yourself. Healing often starts with a very small shift, because every small choice is actually a signal to your brain. Every time you choose patience, hope, and self-regulation, you are building a new pathway. You are teaching your brain a new story. And that's the power of neuroplasticity. You're not trapped inside the mind you have today. Your brain is constantly becoming, and with awareness and intention, you can become someone new.